Okay, thanks for that. How is Declan Rice? Will he be available?
He's fine. We will make the decision now whether he's available or not.
And Zinchenko and Calafiori, you said they've been close before, but they haven't quite made the squads. Are they?
No, Alex and Ray will still be out of the squad for tomorrow.
Okay. You've made wholesale changes for this competition in the previous 2 rounds. Will that continue tomorrow, do you think?
We will decide that in the morning in relation to how the squad is, obviously the relevance of the match and where we are in the quarterfinals, so it becomes a very important match. So we'll decide what is the best team to win it.
You mentioned how important the game is. It's coming up to 5 years now that you've been in charge of Arsenal this week. You've turned them into title challengers, but it's only that one trophy in your first season. Does this competition and where you are now with a home tie in the quarter-final represent a big chance for silverware?
Well, the Charity Shield as well twice, no? So it's 3, yeah.
3.
We need more. We want more and we want the big ones, that's for sure.
A lot's been made, Mikel, I know you've been asked this question over and over in the past couple of weeks about set pieces and open play. If there are any issues as far as you're concerned, do you feel you can remedy them with the squad you've got? Or do you feel maybe the January window represents an opportunity to do something?
I fully trust the squad and our players and the amount of situations and things that we generate in the match, how little we concede. I fully trust my players.
Just one final one from me. Crystal Palace looked like a different proposition from earlier on this season. What kind of game are you expecting against them tomorrow?
Very tough always when you look at the last results and the approach that they have, the quality of individuals that they have, how they are coached as well. It's always really tough. It's another layer of difficulty, especially when you play a team twice in 4 days. So we have prepared for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, guys. Ian from TalkSport.
Hi, Mikel. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
It's a trophy, the League Cup this year, that some teams, I think, need to win, like Spurs and Man United and maybe Newcastle. Some teams like Palace and Brentford want to win. Where do you put Arsenal? The need to win or just want to win?
We want to win, and do everything that you can to win it.
You don't need to win it. What I mean is, do you need to win silverware this year, and this at least would relieve some pressure?
It's not about, the pressure is coming in a big club because you want to do the best that you possibly can, and that's related at the end of winning the major trophies, and this is what we want to do.
You spoke about the fact that the goal situation you can resolve from within the club. How frustrating was Saturday not being able to break down over to looking back on it, and how can you go about making sure that in future when you dominate games like you have this year and not score, you can score?
Well, the frustrating part is that watching it back, all the incredible things that the team does and still not get rewarded for the 3 points. And looking back at other games in the league, and our margins were 10 times bigger than many other teams that have won that day. But this is football. At the end, what we have to do is put the ball in the back of the net, and then we don't have that issue. But what the team is producing and the way the team dominates the game, very little to say.
But do you see why people say there's an over-reliance on either Gabriel or Saliba scoring or Bukayo Saka? Because outside of that, you're not getting many goals from other people where you have in the past.
But that's always the narrative, when you score 5 goals and another 5 and then 3, you're not going to talk about it. And you concede probably, now you don't have that many clean sheets. And when you don't score a goal, obviously you're going to come back to that. That's normal, that's the narrative. For us, it doesn't change. We want to improve regardless we score 3 or 5. And even though we didn't concede anything on Saturday, there are still things defensively I want to do better. That doesn't change our work.
And finally, with team selection, how much do you have to balance the fact that tomorrow this is a knockout, this is all on one night, compared with the really busy Christmas and New Year schedule, which is literally around the corner now?
We have managed the squad in the best possible way to make sure that everybody's fit and available, feel parts of it, and is ready when the team needs it. So if we have to make changes, I'm sure the boys that they come in, they will have that, and others that they're going to have to play as well because of the numbers.
George, BBC.
Okay, well, I just wondered, everything's going on at the moment. What's the sort of stats telling you about how Arsenal are performing? Because there's certain ones that you look, you're scoring less goals than last season, but you create less chances, but then you haven't had Odegaard, you scored 5 at West Ham. So just How do you assess, and you're talking about the narrative, about how you feel the team's performing at the moment?
Yeah, it's very different to that, obviously.
In terms of, you just happy?
The depth of the analysis, that's it. That's what I'm interested in.
Are the players prepared for Palace basically to do what Everton and Fulham could do tomorrow and just sit back?
Well, they are slightly different, and as well, I don't think that Fulham, for example, wanted to sit back. You know, they never have that approach, and they have played against the Spurs, they have played against Liverpool. They haven't done that. Is what you are able to do to teams sometimes, that they have to do certain things. So in relation to the game and the game scenario, the scoreline obviously has a big input to that. We will face one game or another.
Athletic.
Hi, Mikel. After the Manchester United game, I think you mentioned needing magic moments, and I just wanted to ask, as a player, you were capable of a few. I think the goal against Manchester City for Arsenal, for example. When you're actually a player in those moments, how easy or difficult is it to decide a game? Because I guess we don't know that, and then we all kind of come to judge those moments just as journalists, fans, or whatever.
Well, a magic moment is not only just to score a goal. A magic moment can be Gary Magalhaes last year against Manchester United when he plays the striker offside for millimeters. That's a magic moment as well, in my opinion. It doesn't only have to be scoring a goal, but we have players that are capable of doing it every 3 days. That's when you become a world-class player, a player that wins games with individual action, and we are trying to develop our players to have more of that, because that will be another source of winning games.
How much of that is a mental thing?
A lot. I think a lot. And actually making it happen and believe that it can happen again, and then creating the fear in the opposition that a player or two can deliver that. Because a player can become, easy to say, predictable. I know what he's going to do. Actually stopping what he's going to do, that's something else.
Kai, Football London.
Hi, Mikel. Just on the topic of mental focus and those kind of things, just how big can winning a trophy like this, the Carabao Cup? Because externally we maybe dismiss it a bit as the fourth trophy in England and not considered as big as the others, but can it create a snowball effect for your team going forward into the business end of this season, do you think?
I think so. I fully believe in that. The fact that you are winning, you get into the next round, next competition, it creates something different around the team. That's why these kind of games are really, really important.
Because obviously you came from Manchester City where Pep took these competitions really seriously. Is that something you learned from there?
Yes, because it keeps everybody in their toes. Everybody's willing to play those games, those competitions, and if you are able to win it, it generates momentum, belief, and you are ready. And the team is always engaged every 3 days to try to achieve after the bigger ones.
Just on the topic of the January window as well as it's coming up, I know last year maybe you weren't able to be as active because of restrictions and regulations, and the summer there were also the impact of that. But if Arsenal wanted to go out and make a big signing that you felt would really help the squad if that opportunity came up, are you in a position where you can do that this winter?
Well, I think it would depend, what player it is, the value of that player, if there is any other movements in the squad or not. So very difficult to answer.
James, ESPN.
Hi, Mikel. Just on Kai's point about the League Cup sort of being a stepping stone. It's obviously Pep's first trophy. Jose Mourinho used it as well. It was his first trophy at Chelsea, went on to win the Premier League. Do you feel it can have that kind of... Is that a pathway that still applies, you think, that you win a League Cup and you can go on to bigger things for a squad?
I think it's really helpful. Again, I think it brings belief, trust, positive energy, touching a cup and being in a semi-final, beating somebody in the final. It generates that energy, and it creates, I think, the right path to go and do something else, especially because of the timing and where the competition is played in this country. It gets that momentum going, I think, yeah.
Just finally for me, your 5-year anniversary of getting the job is Friday. Will you mark it in any way? Will you have a glass of wine?
I don't drink wine, but it will be a special day. Obviously, 5 years in this job, and especially in the size of the club that we are, it's a big thing. So very grateful.
How will you celebrate it? Will you actually mark it in any way?
I wouldn't do a celebration, but obviously, probably I will reflect on it, and we would have some memories and look through some pictures, some comments, a few moments that we have spent together, and at least recall it and value, because it's quite a long time.
Okay, last couple in the live section. Phil from PA.
Hi.
A section of the supporters seemed a bit angry or frustrated with the draw against Everton. Do you think that was maybe a bit over the top, given that Arsenal are third in the league, third in the Champions League? Or
Sorry, I missed the first part.
a lot of or some of the supporters were quite angry or frustrated after the draw. You know, do you understand that? Or do you
Yeah,
think it's
fully.
too much given where you are in the league?
And we have to be. We are here to win games, and even though I think we did the majority of the things to certainly and to win it and comfortably, the fact is that we didn't.
And can I just ask you about Raheem? I know you spoke about it the other day, but he didn't come on against Everton. Is there any particular reason why?
No.
And finally in the live section, we'll go to Simon from the Standard.
Mikel, can I just ask you about Ethan, who's obviously played in that right number 8 where Martin does. In the long term, do you sort of envisage a way they could both be in the same team together, and how do you think that might look if you have both of them on the pitch?
Yeah, obviously, depending who are they surrounded with, and depending on which position Ethan can play. As a right attacking midfielder, he can be as a left attacking midfielder, he can play as a right winger. There is another position that I think he can develop into in a few years' time. So there are options, yeah.
You can tell us that other position.
9.
What are the qualities that you like as a number 9? I know he did it a bit in the youth.
And he's got the goal in front of him and he just looks at the goal. You know, he has a tremendous ability to put the ball in the back of the net.